You betray the law!
Okay.
Welcome, archaeologists, blood-eating rocks, and justice machines, to this, the 153rd episode of Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on 13 April 2016 and featuring The Stones of Blood by David Fisher and starring Tom Baker, Mary Tam, and John Leeson as the voice of K9. I am Randy Ronson McCulloch, and with me is Mad Matt Winchell,
Zug.
Erin Romeo Moon Burke, and Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Hey ho, let's go.
This is probably not going to be our longest episode tonight because Bill Sylvia is out for the count. I'm under the weather, and there's not a lot of news to report.
To some people, that'd be the best episode ever. But that's
Some people do say we go too long as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's go ahead and slog down here and start up with the news.
All right, today's birthday. We have Peter Davison turned 65. So happy birthday to the Fifth Doctor.
I actually saw a picture of his birthday cake. It was him standing upright and the Sixth Doctor of his head buried in the cake.
Oh, and by the way, if you don't know who Peter Davidson is, shame on you.
Shame.
I know who he is.
Uh-huh. Yes, he was meal of the day.
Yes.
Oh, he was. I think it was dish of the day, wasn't it?
Dish, meal, same thing.
How would you like to eat me?
He was in the show All Creatures Great and Small.
Oh, yes, he was. A veterinarian, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, anyway, happy birthday, Peter.
Peter. Many returns. But
As usual, there's a whole bunch of other birthdays, but none of them were of any. I mean, most of them were bit actors and nothing serious. So, in order to keep things short, I skipped them.
good for you. Well, as we celebrate a birthday, we also say goodbye to Gareth Thomas, who died today at age 71. While in the Torchwood episode Ghost Machine and the Big Finish audio Storm Warning, Gareth is best known for playing Raj Blake in Terry Nation's sci-fi series Blake 7, a role he would reprise for Big Finish in 2012. He is survived by his wife Linda.
So, after this many years, the Federation finally got him, huh?
Nobody outruns the Federation.
All right. So I don't have anything else except for the fact that he was a great actor. I think I remember seeing him in Ghost Machine and not recognizing him as being Blake from Blake 7. Of course, he was in Ghost Machine in 2006 and Blake 7 in the 70s, so a lot can change about a person in 25 years.
Yeah.
Mostly that 70s frizzy afro haircut.
Yeah, it pretty much tamed itself completely and just become really straight and short.
Mm-hmm. The perm.
Nah. Everyone had the perm.
Yeah, he was known for it at the time.
Okay. Are we on to events then?
Yep.
Okay, events. Spencer Wilding is to play Darth Vader in upcoming Rogue One movie. Legendary Star Wars villain Darth Vader will be appearing in this year's Rogue One movie, but it will not be David Prowse under the armor. Prowse, now 81, is mostly retired and does not feel up to the task. Earlier rumors had Hayden Christensen reprising his role from the prequels, but now we know otherwise. Instead, Doctor Who monster actor Spencer Wilding will don the black mask and cape. Wilding has appeared 3 times in Doctor Who as a Minotaur in the God Complex, the Wooden King in The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, and the Ice Warrior in Cold War.
Ah.
You know, when I first
Sounds
heard
like
this,
a good choice.
I had thought Spencer Wilding, who the hell is that? But now I don't remember the Minotaur from the God Complex that well. But the other 2 roles he was in, and he did a great job.
Yes.
Even if the Doctor, the Widow, the Wardrobe is not the greatest episode, his part was still good in it, and the Ice Warrior part of Cold War is the part I like.
Yeah. So he was like one half of that particular character already to begin with. So excellent, good grab.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the thing. According to their rumors, by the way, James Earl Jones is still scheduled to reprise the voice of Darth Vader.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Something I find interesting, since I thought he had been trying to isolate himself from the role in the last 5-10 years.
Not from
I
can tell, because he was
I know.
part of what's it called again? That comedy show. I can't think of the name of it now. Just when I need it. Damn it. Big Bang Theory.
I know he stopped doing the voice for video games. Because they had to get Chad Vader to do the voice for a while.
All I know is the last couple of years he's also been on Big Bang Theory, and whenever they brought him on, they brought in anybody else on Star Wars who was willing to pop in. So, matter of fact, they had him ding dong ditch Carrie Fisher.
Seriously, I have not watched that show in a while. It's not on my viewing list.
Yep,
Every now and then I think it should be, but I already have so much stuff clogging my DVR, I don't need more.
He ding dong ditched Carrie Fisher, and Carrie Fisher comes out literally yelling his name, knowing that it was him.
By the way, honey, I got the DVR down to 65% capacity today.
Awesome.
Got sick, got nothing else left to do. Let's watch stuff.
All right. Speaking of stuff, Big Finish has released a few pieces of news. First thing, of course, is their new releases. Coming out is the part 1 of their 2 Masters trilogy, and that's Doctor Who and You Will Obey Me. That is featuring Peter Davidson's 5th Doctor, the birthday man.
Birthday boy!
To take on Jeffrey Beavers as the Master. Its official press release is The Master, wanted for crimes without number across 5 galaxies. The Master escaped his pursuers. Last known location, rural Hexford, England, Earth. The Master dead and buried in an unmourned grave in a lonely churchyard, apparently. Written by Alan Barnes and starring Peter Davidson, Jeffrey Beavers, Sheena Bassetta, Alex Foley, Peter Cormish, Russ Bain, Tessa Coates, and Nick Ellsworth. Doctor Who and You Will Obey Me is available to buy on CD and download now. This is part of the Doctor Who main range. Also, their listing coming soon is the Doctor Who Vampire of the Mind with Colin Baker, which will be May's main range release.
Okay.
Also out now is Doctor Who Legacy of Death. This is part of the Fourth Doctor adventures. The Doctor, Romana, and K9 have found themselves trapped in a temporal war. On Oris, the past battles the future, and the future fights back. With both sides of the war now capable of time travel, the conflict is about to enter a deadly stage. As pieces of history lock into place, there is little the Doctor can do. With more time tanks moving into combat, the end game is approaching. The people of Oris risk extinction at their own hand. Can even the Doctor save the same planet twice in the same day? Written by Jonathan Morris and starring Tom Baker, Lala Ward, John Leeson, Simon Ruse, Tom Chadbourne, Paul Panting, Emma Campbell-Jones, Laura Rees, Bryn Pilkington, and Jane Slavin. Doctor Who, The Fourth Doctor Adventures, Legacy of Death is available to buy and download now.
Whew, that's a list.
Yeah, that's a big list. And that will also continue with May in Doctor Who Gallery of Ghouls, featuring Celia Ermey as Madame Tissot. We don't have a trailer yet. Well, there's a trailer out, but we don't have a press blurb for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's out now. Also, what we have heard to be released coming soon, Torchwood Broken will be coming in July. Basically, it will be John Barrowman and Gareth David Loyne for the second to last episode of Torchwood Series 2. The trailer is, whenever Ianto Jones has a tough day at work, he has somewhere he can hide. And for Ianto Jones, it's always a tough day at work. His girlfriend is dead, his colleagues don't trust him, and his boss is something else. With no friends in the world and his life in danger every day, is it at wonder that at night Ianto Jones goes to the pub? Ianto's local becomes somewhere where he feels safe. Safe from the demons, safe from his life, safe from Torchwood. Until one evening, Captain Jack Harkness walks into a bar. And no, that's not a joke.
Aww.
Starring John Barrowman, Gareth David Loyne, Melanie Waters, Ellery Thomas, and Ross Ford, Torchwood Broken can be pre-ordered today. And it is due out, like I said, in July. Series 2 will conclude in August. Didn't they already approve a Series 3? I think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Seems to be doing very well for them.
And finally, also announced for July, because that seems to be when they're doing the announcements for, is the latest installment of the Doctor Who short trips. This one entitled The British Invasion, and is featuring Wendy Padbury as Zoe Harriet.
Oh. Will she be in the cat suit?
Probably not at this point. And probably we don't want her to be. At this point.
Well, it's also going to be audio only, so it's not like you can do anything other than maybe pull up a picture of it.
Let's see. The description. A huge metal dome sits by the side of the River Thames. Within it is a device that might change the entire future of humanity. The Doctor, Zoe, and Jamie embark on a small act of kindness, but the TARDIS seems oddly unwilling to help. It's as if it knows the truth. There is something waiting here, something adaptable and cunning, gathering its strength to conquer the stars. No really acknowledgement of who else is in it at this point. It's a companion chronicle, so it might be Zoe reading the whole thing.
Most likely.
Which, as we can see, as we've heard, is kind of a mixed bag.
Depending on who does it, and it also depends upon how well she can do it.
Like I said, mixed bag. In other words, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Fraser Hines, get Fraser Hines to act with her.
Oh yes, if you can throw in Fraser Hines for a little help, that'll be great.
Give Wendy Padbury and Fraser Hines doing the second Doctor and Jamie, and you've got an audio.
Oh, you've already got all the clue you need.
So that does it for Big Finish, and that really does it for our news. Like I said, there's not a lot of news tonight.
Are we okay doing a little bit of quick side sci-fi news?
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't have anything particular to report.
So I'm gonna bring this up in Google Images here really quick.
Please post in the chat so the rest of us can look, so we don't have to double down on our bandwidth.
So, yeah, I'm gonna do this little image search here really quick, and yes, excellent, it is in here. So, I'm gonna share this link to you guys in Skype here quick. Boop. So, I found out, well, actually a lot of us found out about a month or so ago that Toho was planning to do a Godzilla remake. This is the first time they've ever actually decided to, say, remake the first movie and do it. And it's really weird because we're also still working on a second American movie. It was about a month or two ago that we actually got a teaser and a still image, which was just the head of Godzilla. It was either today or yesterday, we actually got an official trailer. Moving Godzilla and everything, and it looks fantastic when it's in motion.
Heck, even the still images looks good.
The still images look alright. It looks really good in motion.
Well, considering, still when I think of Godzilla, I'm thinking of the rubber suit that they used forever. This thing in particular looks unbelievable. But then again, Toho has been producing some really decent quality stuff.
Yeah.
The last 5-10 years. I mean, I think like 3 or 4 of the movies I've seen out of Japan in the last few years have been Toho stuff, like the Space Battleship Yamato movie.
I was just gonna say, you really like the Yamato movies that they've been making. And like I said, this usually when it came to the Millennium series of Godzilla movies, almost all of them were supposedly direct sequels to the original, with a few exceptions that would actually follow a plot that they started in a previous movie in the Millennium series. What this actually kind of reminds me a lot of is Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, All Monsters, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, which was a Millennium movie, and was very, very much saying straight up this is a direct sequel to the original, and that the reason why Godzilla was around is because apparently he was resurrected by the spirits of World War II who felt that they were being ignored. And it was the first and only time that Godzilla was really put up as being an actual villain, the entire Millennium series. Has a very similar grim look to him. So, this looks like it's going in an interesting way.
Alright, so that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So that'll be pretty cool when it comes out. That's about it from my end. That was kind of out of nowhere this week.
So we have 2 pieces of news from the comic book movie verse.
Ooh.
One from yesterday is that Ben Affleck's Batman movie has gotten officially greenlighted by Warner Brothers. It had been rumored to be set to go ahead for a couple of weeks now, but now it is officially all systems go. So Ben, he will be directing. He is going to direct this Batman standalone movie. So it will not have the taint of Zach What's-His-Face.
Well, that's good.
I would also add that Ben Affleck has apparently written, directed, and starred in a couple of movies before he came to Batman Superman, and apparently they all did really well.
Yeah, didn't he direct Gone Girl Gone?
I'm not
or
sure.
Or something like that? That was supposed to be a critically acclaimed one.
Oh, Ben Affleck. Let's look at what Ben Affleck has done recently. IMDb is a wonderful thing. Actor, several things. I'm looking for a director. Writer, director, 7 movies. I Killed My Lesbian Wife. Gone Baby Gone. Gimme Shelter, The Town, Argo, Untitled Batman reboot and Live by Night. Announced and
Oh yeah,
post-production.
he directed Argo. That was the other big one.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about Argo.
Mhm. Yeah, that was with the people who were trapped over in Iraq and they couldn't get back. Or no, was it Iran?
Iran.
Yeah,
So-
The
Iran.
Iranian hostage.
He has some good cred. We know he can act the part. As long as he writes true to the character, I have no issues. It also, depends on the amount of executive meddling he gets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm,
And the news from the other end of the comic book movie is that the standalone Spider-Man movie, the Sony's official MCU entry, now has a name. It is going to be called Spider-Man Homecoming.
huh. I was kind of hoping for Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
No, they
I
wouldn't do
will
that.
put a bear trap around your head, Tim.
So that's going to be interesting. And
I
by the
like
way,
the title
in
just for
the
the hints of what it's about. Like, we finally got him.
and by the way, I don't know if you found a card with it on there, but the O in Homecoming
Yes.
is the Spider-Man face.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a cartoon opening.
Almost, yeah.
Hmm.
I liked it for twofold. It's a hint to the fact that Marvel finally got the rights to Spider-Man back for making a movie. And
No, they haven't.
They're technically working with Sony on this, but the fact that they actually have some say in it now.
Yes.
So I wonder
And-
if they're going to be playing up Spider-Man's teenage years.
And I was just gonna say the second thing is that they're probably hinting at the fact that the big thing that everything is probably set around is the fact that he's having to deal with the stresses of Homecoming as well as becoming Spider-Man. And I hear the rumors are that he's gonna be fighting the Vulture as at least one of the main villains.
Well, we know because this is an MCU entry, what's going to happen in Civil War is going to have a direct effect on probably this movie's also going to be a little bit of fallout from that.
Possibly.
And I have not seen Civil War. In the original plot line, and I'm talking the comic book version of Civil War, during their Spider-Man sided with the sides that registered, and things did not go well for him afterwards. He lost his job. A whole bunch of bad shit happened. So I'm wondering if this is going to be dealing with him trying to go back to trying to live a normal life with everybody knowing he's Spider-Man.
Actually, he did start with the side that was for registration, but then he turned and then he revealed himself just to prove a point.
Uh-huh.
Also, apparently the look on J. Jonah's face was priceless.
Yep.
Uh-huh. What then quickly turned into "You're fired."
Well, actually, at that point,
I
Peter
can't see.
was a science teacher at a high school.
Mm.
So
See, I
Jonah
don't read
couldn't
Spider-Man.
so Jonah couldn't do dick. The reason why he got fired is because, literally Venom and the Green Goblin would suddenly show up at the schoolyard and just go, "Hey, where's Peter?" It's just like, oh shit.
See, I have not read Spider-Man in years, so
Well, this is like the little things I knew about that was going on, so I was sort of
so
into
this
comics
might
at the
be
time.
it might be something akin to that. I don't know yet. We're gonna have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Obviously, if this is going to be only one movie about the whole issue, then I'm not sure how much the backlash is going to be sticking around,
Well-
especially since we have a new Spider-Man.
Remember how much I'm hoping they don't try to go through another origin story, because Sony's already proven they can't do that, and America does not want to see the origin story another time.
Yeah, we already unlike when Spider-Man first came out with its first movie, 2001 or so.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Unlike all that time ago, we actually know the origin story now of Spider-Man. In fact, a good chunk of the mainstream probably knows the origin stories of most of the main Marvel
We all know
heroes.
that Peter Parker was hanging out in his mansion and all of a sudden a spider crashed through the window and he took it as a sign that said, "Yes, I shall become a spider."
I will hit you over the head with a rubber bat, I swear.
But actually, it's kind of weird you said that because I'm actually going to quote what I said at OddCon about Batman. It's like, everybody knows it. We don't need a whole movie devoted to it. Give us a 5-minute, maybe 10-minute summary at the beginning and move on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much any of these main guys need anymore if we're going to be semi-rebooting them.
Now,
we just need a quick abbreviation of what version you're going with, and we'll go from there.
And because that was Fantastic Four fail all over again too.
Mm-hmm.
That and the fact that they completely fucked up the origin and the characters and everything. But let's not dwell on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, was there any other sci-fi fantasy news?
Nothing.
I know Supergirl is about to reach its series finale or its season finale. I'm not going to say series. That's not a British production.
Not unless we want to bring up Rogue One. I don't think we did that last week.
The trailer?
Yeah.
I think that hit right after we.
Yeah, like right after we had our podcast last week.
Mm-hmm.
So in short, Star Wars this year. Oh my god.
It's coming in December.
I will not Ermagerd because I was not Ermagerding over The Force Awakens. It's an enjoyable movie. I do not think it's the greatest thing ever. And I know there are people that are sitting there in their Jedi outfits and holding their toy lightsabers that want to throttle me for saying that. But hey, it loses points for not being that original. So yeah, Rogue One looks impressive. I will have to wait to see it, whether I decide it's impressive.
Yeah.
Or if, as I fear, with the lack of originality we've seen, they're basically redoing the first mission from Dark Forces as a movie.
And
with
excluding all the characters that we liked.
Yeah.
The Doctor Strange trailer supposedly came out.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it. I've been sick.
I've been purposely avoiding it for a little bit.
I want to take a look at it because I want to see how Cumberbatch sounds, if he feels like Doctor Strange or if he feels like bland.
I'm not sure you're going to get that out of a trailer either way anyway.
Depends on
I like Benedict Cumberbatch anyway, so he could be as bland as butter, and I'd be fine with that. That's Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's the British
Erin,
accent.
Star Trek Into Darkness.
I don't care. I liked him in that.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's Star Trek Into Darkness because there's no colon or comma or anything.
Darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Trek Across the Universe, boldly going forward because we can't find reverse. Yeah.
Other news that I've seen just recently pop up here on Facebook is Nocturnal Media has acquired West End Games.
West End Games?
Yeah.
What the hell do I know West End Games?
Number of war games. Branched into role-playing games, including the Star Wars RPG as well as original.
Okay, so that's the old.
That's the old stuff,
yeah. 1974.
Yeah, that
West
was
End
the...
Games.
I didn't even know they were still around. I figured West End was dead as a doornail.
Apparently it's been comatose.
No,
Yep,
wait, no, this...
Paranoia and Torg.
Yeah, this was the original D6 Star Wars that they had the license for. They lost the license to TSR, or it was either TSR or it was Wizards of the Coast at the time. I can't remember.
TSR probably.
And then somebody else has it now.
Apparently, the person who formerly, his prior company was White Wolf, the guy who just bought this.
Oh.
That's interesting because last I see that they were, the company was effectively dead.
Like I said, it was comatose.
Yeah.
It was apparently on a drip.
Well, if you want to, here you go. Copy. I will send you the link so you can peruse it later. Boop. There you go. Yeah, because White Wolf, their properties are now owned by what? Obsidian Path or something?
Onyx Path, yeah.
Onyx Path, yep.
The thing is, West End Games has been kind of like the pass-around whore of gaming. I'm looking at this list, and it has like 6 or 7 people that have bought it, tanked, and been bought by somebody else. So this might not be the biggest news.
Yeah, apparently according to the website here, to celebrate this rebirth of West End Games, the next Nocturnal Media project on Kickstarter will be a new edition of W.E.G. Greg Costakian's Web and Starship. First published in 1984, this asymmetrical game was built from the ground up for 3 players, published by Greg's consent and involvement. The new edition will feature higher quality components than the original, as well as including a number of tools to ease play, such as chart of star distances to replace the need for the rangefinder. Web and Starship.
Don't know it.
Don't know
Neither
it.
do I. I've never heard that one, but it could be one of those obscure things. I don't know a lot about tabletop RPGs, to be honest.
Outside of the big ones.
I know
you play them on a table.
Yeah. I've never even played Pathfinder, to be honest. I would really like to get into D&D 5th edition.
I got a legit digital copy.
I keep threatening to run a game. I just never have the time.
Neither do I.
Or when I do, no one else has the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so other news. Supergirl's season finale is next week. I was just checking to see if we had actually had rumors or had news that it had been renewed. I haven't seen that. I don't know if they've made that. We may not know until later this year whether we'll be getting additional episodes or not. I'm hoping. I'm pretty sure that if CBS decides no, CW will say yes.
Because they are on record for saying we regret having turned this down.
Yeah, and
they now can afford it.
Let's see. It's been starting out with 13 million viewers. It's eventually dropped down into the 6s. So I don't know how that will do for their ratings. I still think we've got more Flash and more Arrow before their finales. Although it might not be that many. I think there's only a couple episodes left of each. So it looks like those will be done this month. Yeah, it looks like we're getting in. We're getting into that area where our TV series are getting done. I wouldn't think that would be happening till next month.
Well, we're almost halfway through, so...
Yeah, I mean, well, it give us a chance to catch up on everything. I still haven't caught up on last year's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm still way behind in Game of Thrones. Every time I try to watch it, I get distracted. Okay, so Arrow goes through May. Flash is done in April. And Legends of Tomorrow, I think, is heading for a finale here pretty soon, too. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think, has about 4 more episodes. And, of course, we have to wait for December for more Doctor Who, which is to remind us what this topic's supposed to be.
And bring this back around circle.
So, thus on that, actually, we do have a little more chit-chat, and this is directed towards Matt and Erin and myself. Odyssey Con, how was it?
It was very good. I enjoyed it. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the idea that Sony thinks it's awesome to do a Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover film.
Yeah, we don't trust Sony.
Yeah. MIB 23. Is this like a April 1st joke? I don't know. Anyway, it was really
stupid.
enjoyable.
Anyway, OdysseyCon.
It does. Turn away from
Odyssey.
stupidity to something smart. Anyway, yeah, it was interesting. GeekCon ran the tabletop gaming room and the LAN. What little LAN we could get.
Then again, OdysseyCon has never been known for a big LAN anyway.
Yeah, well, when your upload speed is 2 and your download speed is like 0.8, it's kind of hard to get any kind of LAN gaming done.
Well,
I mean, flashcards would probably be faster.
Well, that's depending upon whether or not you're actually relying on the internet. There's plenty of LAN gaming where you don't rely on the internet, but they were relying way too heavily on League of Legends to be a thing. And that's going to backfire hard.
Yeah, for one thing, I don't even play League of Legends. I'd be more interested in Heart of Storm, or, if I were going to play a MOBA, I'd play Heart of Storm.
Well, it wouldn't matter.
Or Heroes of the Storm. HOTS. Anyway,
it wouldn't matter. And this is the problem with LAN. If you're going to be relying on anything that requires you to connect to the internet, you're gonna have a bad day.
Yes.
Yep.
Because you're dealing with a hotel that has hundreds of guests, all of which vying to use their internet.
The thing is that they also revamped the hotel, but according to Fixer, who was working AV at the time, she's their AV tech, she said they never bothered updating the infrastructure. So, like, all of the electricity, all of the sounds, like the speakers built into the rooms, none of that was upgraded or anything. Like, a lot of the projectors they brought in, those were the personally owned projectors of OddCon staff.
Yep, and they're not even up to date. We have better projectors than OddCon does.
Yeah, they required VGA only.
Yep, they're not HD.
Not a one of them that I'm aware of.
But we can talk to them and see if we can't help contribute a little bit more.
So, I missed Friday because I had to work.
Friday was our particularly busy day. It was also very windy.
Yeah. We had the MMO panel, and we had Matt's Tokusatsu panel.
Both of which ran well, but I questioned the hours that they decided to put my Toku panel.
I question the hours in general because the movie review panels that Erin and I go to every year, which normally start at 11 p.m. and go to whenever, were at like 11:30 and 10 a.m. respectively. And it's very hard for Richard to get those done in an hour and a half, though he managed.
He managed.
Yeah,
he had to cut out most of the trailer watching, but he managed.
Yeah, well, also this year, trailers were an issue in general, and generally Richard has problems with trailers. It's been an ongoing issue with him for like the last 2-3 years. But this major thing is he's had so much upheaval in his life, he's been unable to actually watch most of the movies, so therefore was not able to give us a full rundown of them.
Yeah. Like, most of the movie, he has a list of everything he's seen, and most of his list was didn't see. But it's mostly because he met a life partner, and he's engaged to this woman and to be married here in May. So Randy and I actually have invitations for the wedding. It was really cool.
Still, my life partner goes to movies with me.
Yeah. Well, it's because he was moving. He moved from a house to a condo.
And he still hasn't unpacked everything.
Yeah, and that's why you didn't have the trailers for that one.
Anyway,
That's
next year I'm going to be handling his tech and trailers, so.
Did you give him your email?
No, but I'm going to subscribe to his newsletter.
Okay.
And that'll get me his email directly, and then I'm going to just pester him. Hey, Richard, it's 2017, so what's the list of stuff you want for 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Richard, it's February. I'll remind you, OddCon's in April.
Just start downloading trailers willy-nilly.
Yeah.
If you can't find a trailer, find a screenshot of it.
Well, it's like, for me, it's like, gotta get Deadpool, gotta get Justice League, or Batman versus Superman, gotta get Captain America. Anything else that's come out this year that's not worth it? Nah, not yet. Gotta get the, Okay. So, like I said, I missed Friday because I had to work. Saturday was okay. Sunday, I think, was actually my busiest time because it was like panel, lunch, panel.
Mm-hmm.
Then crash for a few minutes, get me picked up by my family, and then go home.
OddCon, it's a small con, but it's a very smart con. I have trouble there sometimes because I feel like I ask a question and I actually get the feeling that I'm the one that should be in the back with the safety scissors and glitter
and the pointed hat.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about philosophy in science fiction. And also some, not a lot of gossiping, but a lot of talk about what's going on with the Hugo Awards. There's a lot of, there's been a bit of drama, and apparently there's always a little bit of drama with them. But yeah, lately for the past few years, there's been quite a few items being talked about, such as the statuette being that of a person who owns slaves. And, authors who happen to be, minorities and, don't necessarily want that kind of bust sitting on their mantle looking down at them being like, hey, kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. And then you've also got the sad puppies, the rabid puppies, sick puppies, people who, they felt that they were ostracized or alienated by the Hugo Awards, the judges, I think. I don't know much about how they're decided.
That's the big problem with awards.
Mm-hmm.
Is there's always going to be winners, losers, and eventually somebody is going to feel that they've been in the losers too many times.
Yeah.
Even Susan Lucci got her debut.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like what's been going on with the Oscars this year.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been nominated so many times, yada yada. It's just, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe this whole award thing may have gone too far,
Yeah.
Especially when these awards things aren't actually meant to be anything. They're just literally people shuffling things up to make everyone in the business happy that they're part of the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the puppies are upset because it sounds like they started out as kind of a conservative group. They say that they've moved away from that now, but they feel that, maybe the judges and the people in charge of the Hugos are a little bit too left-leaning, and they all have leftist friends, and, it's basically the old hippies ganging up on the new conservative blood that's coming up, and I don't know. It just sounds like a big mess. Why can't we all just get along? But, of course, we can't have that.
Well, you would think with sci-fi awards, it'd be the utopianists versus the dystopianists. Or, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that would actually be within the genre, not leftist, conservative. I hate it. Stop getting your politics in my science fiction.
I know. I was really surprised when I heard that, too. I'm like, wait a second. This is a thing in the science fiction community? But apparently the puppies do kind of see themselves as the successors to Robert A. Heinlein's career, his legacy. Which, take from that what you will. I was actually compelled to read a little bit of him on Wikipedia. Yeah, I know it's Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt, but he apparently had all kinds of political ideals throughout his life, so started out as liberal, became, I think, maybe libertarian? I don't know. But then he became more conservative as he got older, so as most people do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, picture of a cow.
Picture of a cow. Wait, did you find the fairy cow that they had for their logo?
Yes.
That was interesting. Yes. Fairy cow watches you. Fairy cow is Moojik.
It stares into your soul.
So I think we've covered Odyssey Con enough. Why don't we go ahead and move ahead to our 5-minute challenge?
Yeah, do we have to?
Yes, we have to, because
I almost fell asleep.
We have to do the 5-minute challenge, and I don't want to be the one to do it because I'm sick.
Not it.
I got an idea. Hey, Tim, want to do it?
Oh, okay.
Because I did last week. Let's give Tim another round. Ready, Tim?
Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
So the Doctor and Romana go off to find another piece of the key, and they go to the planet Earth, and Romana has the wrong shoes, and they go to a place that looks like Stonehenge, but it's not actually Stonehenge because it's in the wrong place for Stonehenge, but there's rocks there, and they meet these two women who are doing an archaeological survey, and then they run into some druids in an old house, and Romana gets pushed off a cliff by someone who looks like the Doctor, and the Doctor's about to be sacrificed, but then K9 comes and rescues Romana and says to the Doctor, "Hey, the Doctor, I'm K9," and then the
Wow, you were doing good there for a moment.
Keep going.
But then it turns out that one of the archaeologists is actually a criminal alien who's silver, and the stone's pillars are actually alive, and they're vampire rocks that are going around sucking the blood because they live on globulin. And the Doctor runs into two sparkly fairy type robot machines, and they want to kill him because he broke the seal. But then the Romana comes, and by the way, they're trapped in hyperspace. But with the help of a cool old lady, the K9 rebuilds the thing that sent them into hyperspace in the first place, and the Doctor, using circular logic, proves that the silver alien is the bad guy, and the bad guy gets imprisoned, but not before the Doctor yanks the necklace off her neck, and it turns out that the necklace is what he was looking for in the first place. So the Doctor and Romana have the next piece of the key, and they go off. The end.
You know, you were coherent and linear for about a minute, and then you went all over the place.
I cracked under the pressure. I'm sorry.
Well, for the most part, he got it pretty much on the nose, if not a little expedient. So Tim, you managed to do that in 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
Must have been about 30 seconds that you were coherent then.
He was pretty coherent until like about the 50-second mark, and then he kind of babbled for a bit and then got back on. He lost it around the canine point.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the point I went, the hell?
I'm canine. Tim. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, K9 forgets all about tennis. So there should be a callback. One day, the fate of the universe has to revolve around the Doctor knowing everything about tennis, and he asks K9 what tennis is, but K9 doesn't know what tennis is because Romana told him to forget what tennis is.
You know, that'd be nice, but that would involve us having K9 back in the show, which, by the way, I am all for.
Yeah.
Because even though this isn't my favoriteest episode, this is another episode where K9 proves to be indispensable to the show.
Pretty much.
As we noted last week, this is kind of like K9's heyday season.
Just about, yeah.
Because I can tell you, after this season, it's all downhill for K9. It's breakdowns and
diseases. You know, I didn't know robots can get diseases. You got a cold. K9, how did you get a cold?
All right, so let me pull up what I should have had up. Okay, how many we got here? 3. So, first up is Tim. Name something you liked overall about this episode.
I really loved the character of Professor Amelia Rumpert, the old lady.
Rumsfeld or something, or?
Yeah.
Rumsford
something. She was a bit dotty, but it was the kind of thing that was appealing, and she actually proved helpful in places. So she wasn't like just another bag of bones for the Doctor to have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't just another lame scientist that wandered around doing nothing.
Yeah. It's like, scientists who actually do something now on Doctor Who.
Rumford, by the way.
Professor Rumford. Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure that we're not mistaking it for former Donald Rumsfeld. What was he? Secretary of Defense, I think.
That'd be something.
Okay. Yeah, she
was
an interesting character. Okay. So, of the two remaining... Erin. Something you liked overall.
I liked overall, man, that's some gooey cheese. Never mind.
What? What?
Cheese.
Nothing. Okay. Anyway. Moving on.
And on tonight's episode, Erin gets Tourette's.
I can't help myself. Stop making fun of me. Alright, so, for the first episode or two, I enjoyed the occult theme. I liked the idea. I thought they were going more into, like, a direction. Well, I've seen this, like, a million times. It's one of those serials that I think they had on VHS or something when we would check them out at the library. It's one that I've seen multiple times before. But, what do you call it? I do like kind of the horror occult theme. It seems like they were going more for, like, Horror of Fang Rock, or what was the other one that took place in the mansion? For the Fourth Doctor, specifically, with, I think with Leela again also. It was another kind of dark one where pretty much everybody died, and the Doctor and Leela were running for their lives, and
I don't know which one you're talking about.
It wasn't Curse of Fenric. It's like something like that, though. Where the lady gets taken over. Yeah.
I don't know which one you mean.
You have to give us more specific details than that.
Hang on. Let me look it up.
We're going to find out it's neither the Fourth Doctor nor Leela.
This story got me thinking, though. I'm sorry. Has there ever been a Doctor Who story where he encountered genuine, like, mythological beings that wasn't really an alien in disguise, or like had a scientific explanation?
No, because if you do that, it's not science fiction.
Oh.
Well, there's been some gray area a little bit. Like Ragnarok.
Technically, that's a divine deity, so that doesn't really count, because then you'd have to take out every third episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the, it's not the Seeds of Doom. Image of Fendo.
Oh, God, I'd forgotten about that one.
I believe so. Remember when the lady is... I keep imagining her getting taken over by grubs. Or whatever.
I've only ever seen that once.
I've seen it once and recently, actually, and it was pretty much... I believe the ending is pretty much the Doctor and Leela escaping the monster that she spawns into. Because she becomes like this golden goddess type deal, and she starts just destroying everything, and it's basically the ending is just them crossing their fingers and hoping that the planet isn't destroyed. I mean, more so than ever. I mean, they really nail home that that if we really can't do anything else other than run away from this. Because usually the Doctor, tries to save something, tries to reverse something, and it just, what I remember is just the fact that he couldn't do anything. He was helpless. So he and Leela run away from the monster, and somehow...
Erin, you might want to save this for when we actually review this episode.
Yeah.
Because we will eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. I just remember it actually kind of stuck with me, and I watched it maybe about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it wasn't a legal thing. It was a stream off of Dailymotion. What was that, Rand? I couldn't quite hear you.
I did not hear what you said, Erin. I couldn't hear what you said at all. And for the record, we here at an Unearthly Podcast do not advocate the use of illegal downloads, torrents, or streams. Yeah, that's right. We don't.
Yeah, we totally have never used illegal downloads or streams to watch anything before.
Right.
Yeah.
Because who does?
Anyway, the horror, the idea of the occult and the horror and stuff, that all is actually pretty cool. And the monsters, the rock monsters actually skeletonizing people well, I guess they are after hemoglobin, and they're trying to get all that they can. Anyway,
You wouldn't think that would skeletonize them, though. You would think that would wither them.
Yeah, I thought it would wither them too.
Because they'd basically be sucking the plasma out of them, not stripping them to the bone.
Or just having them turn into dust. Maybe it sucks all of the moisture out.
Well, I could see that if it wanted to maybe get at the marrow.
Yeah.
Even so, the what they did wasn't quite correct for what they were trying to accomplish there, but I'll get into that later. Maybe.
Yeah. And it's so it could have been really kind of a spooky, kind of desperate feeling serial. Like, it could have really gone into some really kind of horrifying stuff, like these previous serials had done, without, while still being Doctor Who and still being a children's show, kind of, sort of.
I'm looking at what they did here, and I'm thinking of the last couple of weeks' episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'm like, wow. The standards of what you can show on TV has really, they've really lowered
Changed.
the standard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got these gore-covered, half-dead skeletons, or these gore-covered, actually gruesome-looking skeletons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they're covered in blood and everything. They're not your bleached, clean white skeletons that you see in some horror films from like the 30s or 50s.
And then you go back and see this where they just, have the flesh kind of go to skeletons. And this was probably scary at the time. And it
still kind of freaks me out a little bit. I mean, maybe not as much as it would if I were a kid, but still kind of, it's still kind of gruesome. I don't know, but then they have the little glow things enter in, and it just stops taking itself seriously completely, and it's just like, oh my god, really?
Yeah, it is kind of like two different episodes. You've got the ground horror thing, and then you've got the space station, and it actually feels like different episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, Matt.
Yes.
What did you like about this episode overall?
Oh, liked about this episode overall. I really did like the mood they set originally, at least. I liked a lot of the air of mystery and suspense, and then a lot of the settings gradually grew dark and remained really dark and grim for like a lot of the story until we get to the last act, more or less. They set up a lot of they set up for a nice pre-planned mystery that gradually unveils itself by about the end of the third episode. And they do set up some nice visuals, as we just mentioned, that kind of worked, at least for their time. Obviously, they don't add up to what visuals could be nowadays. You can get away with so much more. But for what they were allowed and what they had on hand, they weren't by any means shoddy. They just had their own unique air about them. And I feel that it still helped the mood a bit, because you don't want to get too overboard, especially for a family show.
All right. So I actually liked the set of the spaceship on that final episode. It looked really nice. Most of the other stuff was location shots, but I tried to see if that set was a redress or anything, and I could find no notes that it was. And I actually think that's a little insane, that they must have spent a decent amount of money on that set and only used it for an episode and a half.
Actually, I'm thinking they might have used some sort of trick photography to make it look bigger than what it was.
Even so, it's still... really, they only needed, like, 3 parts to that set. the landing point, the corridor, which was not a big thing, and the control room.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, it still was nice, well lit, looked like a spaceship. I mean, your brain said this is a spaceship, and you went, I can buy that. It wasn't like, like we saw in the Invasion of Time, where they were obviously using a hospital as the interior of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Mm.
It looked decent. It looked good.
And that was what? The previous season? Yeah.
Mhm.
That was the end of the previous season.
Yep. So, that's what we liked. Now, what we didn't like. Tim.
I really didn't like the Justice robots. Because I thought K9 filled the quota of the obtuse mechanical being who takes things a bit too literally very well.
I don't know. I didn't mind the Justice robots so much because they reminded me so much of things you would see in classic Star Trek that were just glowy lights that talked. And usually when we saw them in Star Trek, though, they were usually omnipotent beings or gods or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said about every third episode. But it being robots makes more sense from a harder science fiction standpoint. Still, 4,000-year-old biocomputers that are basically sparkly space dust.
Mm-hmm.
Erin, what did you like the least?
I guess I did not like how some of the lines throughout like the first few episodes were kind of fumbled. Like if you when the Doctor and Romana first meet Rumford and Vivian over at the Stones, Professor Rumford is kind of stumbling over her lines a lot, kind of stopping and starting, and it's not just that her character's like that, it's like the actress actually forgets her cues. And I'm not sure if she just, genuinely forgot or something like that, because you can kind of see Mary Tam kind of patiently waiting for her to kind of catch up with her dialogue and stuff, so... and it's also, there was also another scene inside the mansion when the Stones are attacking the other professor and his wife or his lover or whatever, and she's kind of very stiff and everything. Her line delivery for it is, so...
Mm-hmm.
So some of the supporting acting's a bit wooden.
Yeah, a bit wooden, yeah. A little bit forgetful, I should say.
All right. Matt?
Did you just skip Tim?
Oh, did I?
Did I?
I
No,
should
no,
have started.
I said
No,
my
he went with the
thing
Justice
was-
robots.
Oh, that's
Erin
right.
went with-
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt, you're up.
As much as I wanted to like them, the Stones of Blood were not that interesting.
Hey, Attack of the Giant Moving Styrofoam Things.
Yeah, the styrofoam
Yeah.
balsa wood blocks with little lights in them. Ooh, so spooky. The only time they actually legitimately looked threatening was when they managed to corner two humans who were dumb enough to touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't really what I would consider a serious threat. It makes me wonder if the script hit modern Doctor Who, how they'd be done. But let's face it, Stephen Moffat would take a look at it and replace them with weeping angels.
And then make everyone cringe and twist in their seats. Also, their boss wasn't that interesting after she got revealed. She just became a woman with silver
And you
paint.
knew almost right away that she
Damn it,
was
Matt!
really
That was
villains.
my thing.
Oh, sorry. You can. I'll let you continue.
That was what I was going to say was my least favorite thing was the villainess. She's this mass murderous supervillain that just managed to spend the last 4,000 years living in a cottage in rural England, sipping tea.
Mhm.
And occasionally her pets accidentally eat somebody.
Yeah.
Or she willingly lets her pets eat somebody.
I mean, that basically makes her the interstellar equivalent of the crazy cat lady, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And she's supposed
I
to be
liked
some
her
big
costume.
murder.
The costume was okay, especially for the period.
Yeah, it's very unique looking. I remember it from seeing it on posters and stuff when I was little.
Mm.
But yeah, her reveal, she really was not that intriguing of a character.
Mm-mm.
And she
I don't even understand her point. Why was she motivated to be on planet Earth anyway?
Because the ship got stuck there.
Oh.
She's stuck
It
there
didn't
with the
really
ship.
seem like she was actively trying to get away.
She didn't seem to be actively getting away. She didn't seem to be actively trying to fix anything either.
I also don't understand the Megara. Like, were they locked inside? Because like they accused the Doctor of breaking the seal, and it's just like,
They were apparently supposed to stay in there until they reached their destination.
The problem is, the thing is, if they hadn't reached their destination, how was she on the ship?
Because she was already a prisoner on the ship.
No, because they said they were on their way to arrest her.
The way they put it is that they already had somebody who arrested her, but they were going to take the robots and her to the place where the robots would then take over. Is the way I understood it.
Really didn't seem like the robots really necessarily had to do that, considering the fact that they later just
sealed away either. So
yeah, because after finding out who they were, they arrest her, which wasn't supposed to be their function. It doesn't make a lot of sense, people.
No, it doesn't. Like, I was really kind of lost for the last couple of episodes. I'm like, what's going on here?
The logic circled the drain. That's what happened here.
Okay, scene that you liked. There are a few of them, let's face it.
Yep.
All right, starting with Tim.
I like when the Doctor puts on the judge wig.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's not real. I can't defend myself unless I look the part.
I just like that he had one.
Yeah, he just pulls one out of his
reaches
pocket and
into
goes,
his
ta-da.
pocket. The thing is, the one thing I love about Tom Baker's Doctor, and it was something I was kind of hoping I could corner Bill on tonight, one of those things is that his pockets are like Presto's hat from the old D&D cartoon.
Yep.
He just reaches into it and pulls out whatever he needs.
Just that he rolls a 20 and Presto keeps rolling a 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the thing is, he knows what's in his pockets.
When he needs it.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of mine. We will now move on to Erin.
All right, let's see here. Oh, so many. Because, like, Tom Baker really does kind of carry this one. Although the Professor Rumford is actually quite delightful, too. Let me see here.
Yes, watching Tom Baker in action, even in a bad serial, is still fun. Tom Baker, I think, automatically adds a point to any serial.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they've already got the wig. Well, I like the way that he throws away a perfectly good umbrella.
Oh, it's not raining.
Yep.
The one of
Way to
two
be a
appearances
litter
for the
bug,
Doctor
dude.
umbrella.
Personally,
Yeah.
I think it would have. They couldn't do it with the special effects. I would have found it funny if he then shoved it in his coat and walked off like he didn't have one.
Yeah. He has, like, an extra-dimensional coat, too.
He has the equivalent of katana space or hammer space, only for him it's umbrella space.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then later on he uses the umbrella to defend himself against something.
Huh, I guess I forgot about that part.
No, I'm saying that would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is that he puts it away under his coat, and then all of a sudden, sometime later, he literally pulls it out and defends himself. Although I will say that the Sixth Doctor pulls out a very similar umbrella, which is why I've dubbed it the Doctor Umbrella.
Okay. All right, Matt, your favorite scene.
Technically, Erin took mine.
Hmm.
Like I mentioned, I have a Doctor Umbrella because I've seen the Fourth and the Sixth Doctor use the same umbrella. Next best scene. You know what? Anything with K9. Especially the rescuing Romana bit, where he has to go off and detect her.
K9, you've always wanted to be a bloodhound. Negative.
Now you get the chance to be a bloodhound right now. So go on, try to detect Romana. I've detected her direction, sir. Well, go on.
Don't talk about it.
You
do
know,
it.
you watch that scene and you can see that thing struggling to get
Yeah.
up that hill, and then it just hits the downhill, and down it goes.
Yeah, poor K9 had kind of a rough time here.
Well, that's because they really didn't know how to make that poor remote car work the way it was meant to.
Yeah, that thing was basically an RC car with the K9 prop over it, and it wasn't designed to have the big heavy K9 shell over it.
So it wasn't RC off-road.
It was. It just needed to have a bigger motor.
Needed to have a bigger motor and needed to have better things just to run on it, period. The only time it seemed to ever run smoothly is when it was on rails.
Yeah. It also had, by the way, a speaker in it, so John Leeson could actually say the lines while on there, and then he'd overdub it later.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
there's this great story about this episode. When they're on site for this, but not filming, and they're just testing the equipment and stuff. Apparently, there's Tom Baker sitting there doing the crossword from the London Times, and John Leeson is helping him through the K9 speaker as K9. So you can imagine you being somebody that's either in this area or working on set, and you just see Tom Baker sitting there in his doctor outfit, holding a newspaper and a pencil and going, "What, K9, what's a 4-letter word for, you know?" And that just goes to show how awesome Tom Baker is. It really does.
He could throw out his doctorisms anytime he wanted.
All right, so my favorite scene is the one where Tom Baker does the matador to the stone.
Oh yeah.
Off the cliff, because it was just one of those perfect moments. Although I'll admit this, it would have been better if he would have said something, learned this from a bullfighter in Pamplona or something like that. Possibly even named a famous bullfighter, considering the Doctor's such a name dropper. But I think that might have been more of an Eighth Doctor thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So now we're at the scenes you didn't like. And Tim, you get to start the ball.
Okay. Well. You know, there are not a lot of scenes that I actively disliked, but if I had to choose one...
Which you do.
Okay. I thought the scene where the Doctor is about to be sacrificed was kind of not as well done as it could have been.
I'll give you the where he's about to be sacrificed, but his flippant attitude after the what's her name shows up was great.
Yeah. So, like, immediately after that was okay, but that
original send-off doesn't quite pan.
Yeah. Okay, Erin, your least favorite scene.
My least favorite scene was, let me see here. I think wait, what was Tim's least favorite scene?
The sacrifice scene at the beginning of episode 2.
Oh yeah, that's right, with the doctor being tied up. I don't want to take anyone else's.
You have first right here, Erin.
Actually, I do know what scene. I was going to name one, but now there's another one that really kind of broke it for me. It was the Romana falling off the cliff scene.
Actually, that was on my B list.
That was a kind of a what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the, wait a second, she's looking out over the cliff, and then all of a sudden she's kind of falling clumsily backwards over the cliff. How did she have time to turn around? I was actually just reading the article on Wikipedia here for Stones of Blood, and apparently Tom Baker objected to the idea of seeing children, of having the children see the doctor push Romana off the cliff, even if it was someone else in the disguise of the doctor. He felt that they wouldn't be able to tell who it was, and he didn't want children to see the doctor as a threat, so they did not show the doctor explicitly pushing her off the cliff. They just kind of showed her, like, they didn't even show her backing away. She just kind of fell backwards all of a sudden.
So that was a case of Tom Baker's meddling made a scene kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah,
kind of box.
because when she's looking out over, the cliff, she's got like a good 4 or 5 feet away from the cliff edge, and then all of a sudden she's falling off of it. And I'm like, well, what could have been better is if they'd show her slowly backing away and then falling. Just take a few seconds to show maybe her feet walking backwards.
Yeah, like
so
show a quick shot of her taking a bad step backwards and then the fall.
And, if you didn't want to show Tom Baker, you could have made it a view and you just see a hand in what looks like Tom Baker's coat. Shove him.
Yeah.
And even, cast an extra doing it so it's not Tom's arm.
You can't really tell anything from just a sleeve.
That would have worked a little better, I think, but even so, and it's funny, 2 seasons later, John Nathan Turner would force Tom Baker to play an evil version of the Doctor in Meglos. So, moving on now, Matt, your least favorite scene.
But what Erin picked out was actually my B scene. The first scene that actually really took me out of things is, what was the older scientist's name again? The older lady?
The one I keep forgetting?
Yeah. Rumford. Very nice, very good actress throughout most of it, but the first scene with her, where she seems to be constantly struggling to remember different scientists and what they did and stuff like that, it just, like, the whole homage of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, get on with it, just pops into my brain.
I actually liked that scene.
Oh, no, that drove me bonkers, Betty.
Because it was the Doctor trying to establish himself and kind of smiling and nodding like he knew what she was talking about.
That's just my problem, is that they could have cut it in half, though, but he just keeps...
For me, it wasn't that. It's the fact that her talking is so slow. Because she would literally start talking and then slow way down, and it was like,
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it. Romana over in the corner. I'm not enjoying this scene. Get on with it.
All right, and then I think my least favorite scene is, I think it was in the final episode where they're talking in the house, and one of the freaking stones pretty much comes out of nowhere, and K9 doesn't detect it until it's like point blank range, and I'm like, seriously, Doug?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're literally like, oh wait, what about the stone? All of a sudden you just see it in the background walking past a window or something. Oh, better get moving again. Thanks for the warning, K9.
Yes, why do we keep you around?
Because I provide force fields. Like, wagtail.
Yeah, it would have been if it would have been those scenes that if the doctor was there, K9 would have been warning the doctor, and the doctor would have kept pushing K9 off on it, which makes more sense. But,
Mm-hmm.
it just hit me as being slightly annoying. So, is there anything else we really need to say about this episode?
Not particularly.
All right, then we probably don't want to dwell on it, and I'm sick, so I don't want to stay up too long. So we'll call this one an early night and go to final thoughts. We're currently about 20 minutes ahead of schedule.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not horribly bad.
No.
Well, we did spend a lot longer on the news than I thought we would, but okay, Tim, go ahead and give it your final thoughts.
This was a promising episode that turned out to be average to above average in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Had some good performances, some good side characters, but it was didn't quite live up to its potential.
Okay. Erin?
I enjoyed the first half of this. I think it had a lot of potential to it, but the introduction of the Mega Rod just kind of splits this serial really in half. It stops taking itself seriously. It becomes more comedic, more satirical, and it just kind of takes away from a lot of that tension and kind of horror, that fun that I had in the first couple of episodes. So it was slightly disappointing for me.
All right, Matt?
I couldn't agree more with the sudden jarring change between the first half and the second half as we get less horror and
more of the first 2/3, second third, but yeah,
just
because they were kind of
into
introduced
this.
in episode 3.5.
They're just kind of skipping this tongue-in-cheek thing at the end, and it's just like, okay. I'll still go for the ride, but it's not as good as what it could have been. Especially if they would have planned it maybe in a different way. To still kind of somehow find a way to keep the tension going a bit more. But it's not by any means the worst thing that's ever come out of Doctor Who, nor the worst thing that's ever come out of this particular run of the Doctor either.
I would watch this all day as opposed to watching Journey to the Center of the TARDIS once.
Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely not that bad.
Yeah, this suffers from not completely taking the full potential that they had, which is better than completely having no potential and just putting out this rushed thing anyway, like Journey.
Okay.
So there was potential, but it's kind of squandered in the last quarter or so. It feels, and it kind of suffers for it, but it's not by any means the worst thing I've seen.
Okay. Well, I have to basically agree with you. It is a little disjarring between the first half and the last bit. I actually do like the last bit, but mostly because I'm not looking at a dark screen all the time.
If
I
the
don't
last
find
bit was
the
like
things
its
that-
own story, it would actually be a lot better.
Yeah, it would be. But yeah, it is a little disjarring going from A to B, and all in all, I find this to be the weakest episode of the 3 we've watched thus far. Whereas both Rebus Operation and Pirate Planet both hold my attention, this one kind of limps along
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of feels bleh. So, on that note, Tim, what would you rate this out of 5?
I would give this 3.5 stars. Slightly above average, but just missing the mark of like being a 4.
All right. Erin?
I would give this probably about a 2.5.
Wow.
Ooh.
Subpar.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Matt?
Mediocre. 3.
Mm,
3 flat?
Yep.
All right. I actually give this a 4, but it's a low 4. So it's like a 3.8, but rounded up. Because, like I said, I actually did enjoy the end part. I just felt that it wasn't really in keeping with the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Very much so.
So, without Bill here, the 4 of us gives this an average of 3.3.
So just above mediocrity, but just.
3.25. Which will put it. Have the time, do the sort. I can sort. I can sort data me.
I can sort with the forces of evil, but that's none of your business.
We'll put this. We'll put. Where are we here? Stones of Blood at number 104 of 149 episodes currently reviewed.
Ooh.
So it's in the bottom chunk.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is.
But then again, we've not
On
seen
par.
that many horrible things.
It is on par with Planet of the Daleks, Destiny of the Doctor, Vengeance of the Stones, which is ironic. In the Forest of the Night, Evil of the Daleks, which, mind you, is only there because of the lack of media. It is just above the Daleks' master plan, Time Lash, which I'm surprised is that high. Pandorica opens and Power of the Daleks and Robot, and just below Destiny of the Doctor, Night of the Whisper, Curse of Peladon, Silver Nemesis, Doctor Who and the Daleks, Terra Firma, and the Five Doctors.
Surprised the Five Doctors is that low, but then again, it was kind of mediocre too.
It was mediocre because while it was epic in its own way, it got kind of muddled.
Yeah.
So that is going to do us for our coverage of this, at least until Bill can give us his thoughts eventually.
Mm-hmm.
That'll do it for our coverage of Stones of Blood. If you enjoy listening to us, please like the video to show us you're listening. If you want to hear more, go ahead and subscribe on twitch.tv/Unearthly Podcast, youtube.com, at unearthlypodcast.insomniac.co.uk, and mixcloud.com. If you really like us, you could support us, and you can do so at patreon.com/unearthlypodcast. Next week, we continue into the second half of the Key to Time series with The Androids of Terra, also written by David Fisher, a man who seems to love his The X of Y trope, and yes, still starring Tom Baker, Mary Tam, and John Leeson as the voice of K9. Hopefully, I'll be over whatever I have this week.
And hopefully
And
Bill will
hopefully
not
Bill-
be burnt out.
Yeah, and be able to join us.
Mm-hmm.
So, see you then, hopefully.
See you
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
Good night,
Happy
everybody.
trails.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.